Welcome to today's talk session. My name is Deidre Moss, and I am the host of Can We Talk? I'm an educator, a PhD candidate, motivator, and a talk connoisseur. In honor of Women's International Day, Can We Talk has dedicated the entire month of March to talking about issues that impact women. There are many contributions to our society and the issues that impact them. My guest today, Lavita Thurston, is very familiar with the issue of women abuse and domestic violence because she is a survivor of domestic abuse and she is here to discuss this issue and share her story with us today. So at this time, I will pass the virtual mic to her to have her introduce herself. Ms. Thurston.
Good day, Ms. Moss. Good day, all. My name is Mistress Lavita Thurston. But before I became Mistress Lavita Thurston, I was nobody. And why I was nobody is because I was raped at the age of 15. And out of that rape, I got pregnant. When I went to the rapist's mother and told her what her son had done to me, she told me not her good son and slammed the door in my face. As a 15-year-old child, pregnant, been raped, don't know where to go, where to turn. You can imagine the hurt, the pain I was going through. I'm to this adult, a mother of the person who hurt me, telling me not her good son, like if he was a saint. But anyhow, I walked away from that home in pain, with tears in my eyes. And I swore to myself that I was gonna never let them see my child. And so I tried to protect him away from them. I never wanted him, I had my baby, of course. I never wanted him to get to meet them. And one day he was about, I think, about 5 months or so. One of his aunt came and she said, "Oh no, we can't let this go on like this." And she asked to take him with her. And when I found out that he went down there where they was living, where the grandmother and the dad was living, I was so hurt. And anyhow, fast forward, when he reached 12, he went down there and I was looking for him, and then they brought him home. And I beat my child so bad because he went to look for this guy. And I don't even call him a dad. I call him a sperm donor because he know he raped me, but he never was in the child life. He never came to say he's sorry for what he did. Nobody said sorry to me. Anyhow, I was in a relationship where once I was pregnant with the rapist child, I met this person and he seemed genuine and he said he didn't want no sex. He just wanted to support me because I was very young and he found out that I got raped and was hurting. And so he tried to be there. But one day they was having I think it was a birthday party or a shower for me. And he was supposed to bring these drinks and stuff, but he said he knocked off late and he left from home. So me and the lady, we went back to his house to get these drinks. And it was taking so long. And so she told me, go and check what is taking him so long. When I went, I knocked on the door. He said, door open, not thinking that he had this intention to try and touch me up or to try have sex. So I went inside the house, and when I looked, he was already in the back of me. And so he started to touch me and try to kiss me up. And I start to panic and I start to cry, asking him, please don't do this to me again. Because my mind went on the rape. And all I was thinking is, Lord, this can happen again, get raped again. And so because I was carrying on and acting out, he started to slap me and he told me, get my blank out of his house and go. And so I ran out there crying and screaming and I told the lady what he did. So she said, okay, let's go. Don't worry about it. I didn't see him for after a while. And then I had my baby. Then about a year later, he came back and he said he's sorry for what happened. We didn't properly talk about it. And I just panicked because he wasn't trying to do me anything. He just wanted to hug me up. And so I believed it because I was still broken. And we got together. I moved in with him. I got pregnant with a son for him. When I was like about 7 months pregnant, he took a PVC pipe and hit me across the stomach. And because I was asking him something, I can't remember exactly what he did. But he used to sleep out, he used to gamble, he used to have so much sweethearts. And when I asked him about it, he would beat me. You know, almost anything was a reason for him to beat me. Anything. And so I had another son for him years later, but a year or two later. 3 days out of the hospital, I asked him about some information. I found out that he had dealt with one of the boy godmother to be. When I asked him about it, he started to beat me and start to row me and say mean things to me. So I ran out those into the yard trying to see if one of the family members would have helped me. But I guess they was afraid of him because they never helped. In fact, his mother, one time he was beating me and I ran over there. She pulled the door and locked it and tell me not in here, don't come in here. And she watched her son beat me. God rest her soul. And so for years, that went on, the beating, the abuse. A lot of time I would have been so hungry. Kool-Aid and bread would have been Sunday dinner. Sometime I would lie, tell his sister the baby wanted some of her food when in all actuality, there was just no food in the house. Sometime I would go by my mother to hustle a couple dollars. And when I come home, he would growl, he would question, oh, you been by man, he'll beat me for that. You know, it was no peace, no happiness, no joy, no love. It was just one sad, one sad young girl in a toxic
Miss
relationship.
Thurston, if I can interject, it is clear that you know and understand the issue of domestic violence as you have experienced it yourself, and it is
Yes,
clear that you have a story to tell. Um,
yes.
However, before you go, yeah, before we go dive into the story, I would just like to play a clip of your your video that you would have shared
Okay,
online briefly, and then we'll get back into your
okay,
story and overview some of our points. Okay. So let me just play it.
okay.
I'm gonna pull it up and share it. 1 second. Let me just see if I can.
My name is Mrs. Lavita Thurston. I'm the president of Growing God, immensely nonprofit organization. We offer grief counseling. We help wherever the need are. Hi, my name is Mrs. Lavita Thurston. I have a story. There is hope in my story. There is power in my story. There is healing in my story. There is deliverance in my story. And this is how my story goes. At one point in my life, I was in two separate abusive relationships. The first abusive relationship I was in, I had just been raped at the age of about 15. And this guy came up to me and he was so nice and he was, being so supportive.
He had not came on to me as if he wanted a relationship. He just wanted to be a friend. And I was vulnerable, and so I buy into it. And I thought that he was just a nice person trying to help a broken young lady being pregnant with a child that was conceived through rape was very hard. I tried to get an abortion, but my mother told me no, I can't get an abortion. And being a child, I couldn't, fight against what anyway, years later, I left that abusive relationship.
Mr. Sin, thank you so much for sharing your
Yes,
story.
ma'am.
And so as we look at, the brief clipping, the brief viewing of what you would have discussed, and I know it's so much more to it, I just want to ask you, although we played a video of your story, can you briefly, can you tell us what led you to establish an organization, your Growing God Immensely organization? Because after coming out of those situations, you would have started a nonprofit organization. So can you tell us what is that about and what led you to establish it?
Well, our organization is about helping people and being our brothers and sisters keeper. Because when I was going through the abusive relationships, there wasn't much places that you could say go to, or much persons you can call on to say, hey, I'm having this issue, or I just got beaten up last night or today. There was not much awareness like how people are more aware now, like how people are doing more researches, more workshop. Back then, nobody wanted to touch on this subject. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And then you being the person who is in the abusive relationship, you don't want to go there and tell people, this is how I got this black eye. This is what happened. Because what happens is the 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 abuser makes you feel like it's your fault. Look what you caused me do. If you didn't do this, if you didn't say this, I wouldn't have hit you. And so you start to make excuses in your mind. Maybe if I didn't say that, he wouldn't have hit me for true. And then they goes and they buy you stuff and make you feel like you want it and make you feel like they sorry. And they tell you all the stuff like, I'm gonna go to counseling. I am really sorry for hitting you. I have to do better. I don't want to lose you. They even share the tears and all. And then being in those abusive relationship, being raped, you know, I I knew that God wanted me to be here for such a time as this, because I tried to commit suicide several times and God wouldn't let me go. So I knew He wanted me to do something with my pain. So I had to turn my pain into joy, and I get joy by helping others. And then my daughter, she was molested by a family member on her dad's side. And she years later, she was murdered. That very same family member brought somebody to our home and shot her, and she died in my arms. And so I didn't want to feel the full effect of that pain just by sitting down and doing nothing. I wanted people to know abuse can kill. It leads up to murder if you don't do anything about it. So I decided to go back to
Mrs. Thurston, Ms. Thurston, I'll, Ms. Thurston, I'll just ask you to I'll just ask you to just repeat briefly what you would have said, just because your
You can hear
audio.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So just, could you repeat that briefly?
Okay.
I know you would have spoken about your daughter
Because
being, because you were cutting in and out. Yeah.
okay, when my daughter was young, she was molested by a family member on dad's side, and that same family member brought somebody to our home and killed her. She died in my arms, actually. And I decided that I didn't want to feel all of that pain just by sitting down and doing nothing. So this wives club that I'm a part of, I got a scholarship from them, and I went to Galilee College, and then I did a associate's degree in counseling, and then I put in for a nonprofit organization named Grow in God Immensely, where we help people, and our motto is to be our brothers and sisters keeper, because people don't want to talk about it because they feel like you will look down on them, and they are ashamed. When they hear my story, it draws them out of hiding. It brings them out and connect with my story. I've had a lot of persons in the past call me and say, I heard your story. I want to talk with you. I want to get one of your book. How can I get one of your book to purchase? And so we have to be our brothers and sisters keeper, not just today, tomorrow, every day. We have to encourage each other.
Mrs. Thurston, hearing your story and all the things that you would have went through, what is your view of domestic violence in the Bahamas? And I know you said maybe in the past persons would have been scared because there wasn't a lot of research or it wasn't a lot of awareness of the issue. But you know, what is your view of domestic violence in the Bahamas now? How do you feel? How do you feel about the state and the condition that we are in as it concerns our level of awareness and providing avenues and providing means for a person who may be in the situation to find help? What is your view?
My view is that more should be done, not just when Women's Day or when we having a workshop like in recognition of the National Women's Society, or whenever they having some type of thing like that. I feel like we should do this like every other month or every few months. We should bring more and more awareness. We should have pamphlets all over the place, like different organizations, even the hospitals, even at the courts, because you have persons, male, going into the courts for beating up their girlfriend, beating up their wives. And then I feel like if a male comes in, whether get locked up charge, once he comes in, because somebody makes a report that he beat them up, we should do something about it. Make him go to some kind of counseling, anger management. There's too much anger in our society. There's too much pain, too much hurt, because we try to cover it up. We know our sons have anger and we don't tell people about it. We know our daughters hurting and we don't say nothing about it. We just let them get beat up, let them get abused, and we don't try to help. My my abusers, if their mothers or family members had gone out there and like bring the police themselves and really stood up to their siblings, I believe it would have helped push me to even see more better. Even though one of my abusers, his sister used to tell me, you need to leave so and so. This ain't the way to go. But it was only casually said. It wasn't like like if you don't leave him, I'll call the police for you myself, or I'll, you know that kind of way. We have to be more like bold with this thing. We can't just
More
casually say to
aggressive.
people, Pardon me?
More aggressive.
Yes, yes, good aggressive, but people already, like women already shame for anybody to know they get beat up. We would lie, say we fall down, we hit our head, the fridge door was open and I bumped into it. The kitchen door was open and I just wasn't looking where I was going. All kind of dumb excuse, just so people don't know we got beaten up. I remember one time I was going to work and walking. It was cold. He had just slept out that night and came that morning. He gave me a jacket to put on. I didn't thought nothing of it. I put on the jacket on my way going to work. One lady stopped me. She said, "Miss, where you get my jacket from? I just give so and so to put on this morning to go home in because it was cold." Listen to me, Miss Moss. I just spin around and I start to walk home and I crying. And I went to him and I asked him, I said, "Why did you do this? Why so and so? Why did you do this?" And you believe that man gave me a black eye? A black eye. My eye was so red and black around the edges. I had to put on shades to go to work. His uncle used to tell me, "I know what happened to you, I know what happened to you last night. You let so-and-so beat you up again. But I can tell you this, you're a young girl, you don't need to be going through this." He spoke to me, but it was just casually said. It wasn't no, you could get over this, man. You don't have to put up with this. Why you don't go home? It was never said. And I believe we should put posters all around. If you find somebody who willing to come forward and speak about what they've been through, put their poster somewhere. Stop the rape. Stop abusing me. Put them on a poster. Like me, who's a living testimony, who been through it. Put my poster. I don't mind. Stop beating up on. Stop beating up a child. Stop hit me if you love me. Things like that. We have people who good with.
So, Ms. Thurston, I'm just gonna pause for a minute, and because it seems as though you're having some audio issue. I know you'll come back in, but what do you think? I know you would have said that you had the family members of the abusers who would have said that you should get out the situation, you should leave, you shouldn't take this. But as a society and in our communities and even at the government level, what can we do to improve the issue of domestic violence and abuse in our country and make persons who are being abused, who are having harmful acts committed against them, to feel comfortable to come forward and maybe report the abuse or to get out of the situation? What can we do at those levels to address this issue?
You see what you're doing right now? I bet you any money someone is going to come forward, or some persons will come forward, call you or call me and say, "Hey, I was abused or I am still being abused." I find it that the more I share my story, the more people coming forward. So that's why I offer myself. Anybody who wants to hear my story, wants to share it, I will do so. I will talk with them. I will have Zoom meetings. I will come to your organization. I will speak to a congregation, to an audience. We need more of this, more talking. You see what your team is? Let's talk. That is a good team. So we need more of this. If something could be done like every other week or every other month, to talk with somebody who have been abused. And the more persons come forward, if they are comfortable to talk, have a Zoom meeting with them, have an audience with them. Let people hear from others who have been in this, who have been hurt. We have to bring these people out. We have to draw them out of the shadows.
Ms. Thurston, I want to thank you. I want to thank you that you're willing to share. I want to thank you that you're willing to share your story. I want to thank you because you're being bold and you're being courageous. And so many times I heard you say there is a shame attached to this issue. There's a shame that persons who are being abused may feel. There's a shame attached to it. And sometimes that prevents persons from wanting to come forward. But there's nothing to be ashamed of if you have a harmful act being committed against you.
Not at all. You did nothing to get hurt. What could you do to make somebody beat you? It's not you. It's the person who abusing you has a problem. That person is broken also, and they need help, maybe more than you. It's nothing you could ever do to make somebody abuse you or beat you. It is on them. I felt like I was the cause until I got out of it and I start to look for those broken pieces and I start to find myself because I hated myself. I hated me. I want to die more than ever. But when I found myself, I say, wow, what a beauty. You know, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made in God's image. And so nobody can tell me no different now because I love all of me. And I'm very fluffy. And I tell people I am fluffy and I love all my fluffiness. You understand? And so those abusers now are my brothers because I forgave them, because I saw what was happening.
But Ms. Thurston, if I may interject, you said something so powerful. You said sometimes the abusers are the ones who need the help the most. Some of them have their own internal issues that they're battling.
Yes, yes. From a child. Abusers. He was being sexually molested by an older woman. Now for him, he talks about it like if it's okay and he's this hard man, right? But in all actuality, he was being abused. He was being sexually molested. And until he goes back to his hurt trail, that means you have to go back to where the incident happened. In reality, he has to confront it. He has to admit to himself that he has a problem. Then he watched his dad used to abuse his mother. And so all of that, when a child is traumatized, the child grows up very fast and becomes an adult. But you seeing a child because of the age, but in the child mind, he or she already grown up trying to hide the child, trying to protect the child where the trauma happened. And so even though that person might have grown into adult and feel like, oh, I'm doing better, if he never dealt with that situation where it happened, he's going to continue to hurt other people. Only hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people hurt people. Mrs. Thurston, that's so powerful.
Yes.
That is so powerful. And can you share anything else about Grow in God Immensely organization and the work that you're doing to assist persons who may be going through a similar situation? Is there anything else you want to share about your initiatives or any programs that you're doing or anything that you have coming up in the future?
Well, the reason why I call the reason why I call it Grown Gardens is because my daughter nickname is Gigi, Gigi, and I wanted something with God in it because everything I do, I try to make it based on God. I try to put God in it, everywhere in it, because He's the only reason why I am still here. Any one of them blows I would have gotten from my abuser should have killed me. Really. That's how serious and severe they were. And so I knew it was only God keeping me. I knew it was only God holding me, that I am still here. And so that's how we name it Growing God Immensely. Um, our organization is based on helping people who are grieving, people who are hurting for whatever reason, rape victims, kids in the home, need to talk, need counseling. We try to help also with funerals. We try to help with utility bills, food, grocery items, whatever the need is, we try to meet that demand. We are right now, we need like funding. We're trying to do a workshop where we would bring awareness of all these hurting things in us, hurting people in our society, in our community. And so we want to do a workshop that will target both parents and the children, target both individual and a grouping. And so we know that there's many homeowners, just about out of 99.9 homes, there is somebody and they're hurting and nobody knows about it because they in silence. They don't want nobody to know that I'm going through depression. They don't want nobody to know my boyfriend just round me last night or my girlfriend just hit me last night. Men is get hit too. Men are being abused also. And so we want to do more pamphlets. We want to give out flyers. Like I told you earlier, I think we should do more pamphlets where we talk about this. You'll go to the hospital in the waiting area and you see pamphlets on the table. If it's eye-catching, you will take one and read it. But if it's not, if it don't look interesting, you won't even bother to look at it. And so we have to make these pamphlets like more eye-catching, more interesting. I'm pretty sure if you see a pamphlet with some bruised face, you'll be, what the hell? Let me see what this is all about. You'll pick it up, open it, and you start to read.
Ms. Thurston, again, I would like to thank you for your courage and also let you know that Can We Talk is willing to work along with you for whatever initiatives that you want to put out there or make available. And I don't know how far this video is going to go or how far this session is going to go, but I heard you talk about the need for funding and the need for, I guess, financial support and more resources to help you get some of the things that you need to get
Yeah.
going to support your organization. And so I hope that in some way this session can help with that. And so today, Ms. Thurston, I would like to thank you for sharing your story. And I know it's so much more because, you know, you even spoke about your daughter who was impacted by abuse and the issue
Yes.
of women abuse and domestic violence and even incest is real and
Yes.
is here in our country. And the more we, you know, close a blind eye and put it under the rug, sweep it under the rug, it's not helping the situation because it's not going to go anywhere. And so I'm glad that you are doing your part,
Amen.
and I'm going to try to do my part to bring awareness to these issues. So
Yeah.
I would like to thank you.
Mm.
I would like to thank you for for sharing with us
Welcome.
today.
Okay. Should I give
And
my
do you,
numbers?
yes. Well,
Should I give my
I'll
number?
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. If anybody needs to talk or wants to reach me or even get a copy of my book, From Abuse to Glory, has everything in detail. My number's 428-6803 or 323-63 ITATHURSTON@hotmail.com.
Okay, and just so it's clear, I'll still add it to our video as well, our comment section as well, so persons can have that information. And also, persons can also comment under the videos. Let us know what you think. Let us know what other topics you would like for us to talk about. And so, Ms. Thurston, if that is all for you, I would like to again thank you for being a part of this session today in honor of and celebration of Women's International Day. And I know you would have said that we need to step outside of these events and talk about this more on a continuous level. We need to talk about it even more, not just in recognizing women's issues and Women's Day, but this is an issue that needs to be addressed all the time. All the time. And so I would like to thank our viewers. I would like to thank my guests. Like our page for future notifications of upcoming discussions. Comment under our videos and let us know your thoughts and let us know what you want us to talk about. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Instagram, our Twitter, and thank you and good evening.